subscribe.
一体どんな手を使って
どんな手も何も俺は元から
登録していた。
Card D Kaizoku.
In this video, we're going to be taking a look at OP13 early meta deck prices. We're going to break it down into these tier categories here, and we're just going to show off which decks are within which kind of price bracket here. And we're just going to take a look at the top 20 from the sim stats for this week. This is the week of November 12th, so if you guys are watching this at a way later date, could be different, but yeah, this is just the way it is as of today. So if that is something you're interested in, stay tuned, but first a word from our sponsors. This video is sponsored by TCGX. Check out the brand new TCGX app. It lets you run your own local card shop. List your trade binder and instantly share it with friends nearby so they can buy and trade directly with you. Check out tcgx.gg to get started. This video is brought to you by Adakai TCG. Shop the latest in premium holographic textured custom One Piece cards. Designed for collectors, crafted to stand out. Use code Kaizoku for 15% off your next order. This video is sponsored by gumgum.gg. See the most up-to-date Eastern and Western deck lists on gumgum.gg, updated daily. Be the first to see deck lists for new leaders as they emerge. With over 1,000 deck lists per set, gumgum.gg has all the top strategies as soon as they drop. This video is sponsored by Card Market, Europe's largest online marketplace for trading card games. Alright, so here is how we're gonna break down this tier list. So first category is any deck that is $200 or more. I would consider this bling bling money. For the base art, we're going to take a look at base arts too. We'll try to show some of the alt arts too, just to see how expensive some of these decks can get. The next tier down is the $100 to $200 range, followed by $50 to $100, and then the under $50, and then pig feed. In fact, maybe I'll break this down one tier more. So we'll make this $150 to $200, $100 to $150. This will be pig feed, and this will be $50 to $100. Yeah, I like that. So yeah, let's just get started going in order of the rankings here. Oh, but real quick, my merch store is now open. You guys can check it out at shop.cardkaizoku.com. The featured shirt is the Cut That Part Out shirt with art by The Oiled One. So shout outs to them. In case you guys want some of these insider jokes on a t-shirt, they're there for you. Editor, cut this part in. Red Blue Ace is first. So Red Blue Ace, this is an example deck list for this deck. One of the most played lists is what I'm looking at. The one that has the widest kind of matchup spread and the most play rate. And yeah, this deck here is going to cost you $257. And yeah, this is via my deck builder. If you guys want to check it out yourself, my deck builder is free to use. And yeah, this show prices button will show the TCG player card for the cheapest version of each card. So if you did wanted to like swap them out to higher rarity ones, you can change it out with this button here. And yeah, these shopping cart links and this mass entry button, they go through my affiliate link. So if you guys wanted to support me, this would be an easy way to do it. It's a win-win if you guys want to buy these cards anyway. And yeah, this mass entry button, in case you guys don't know, it copies the entire deck list to your clipboard, and then you can just Control V once you're on TCG player site and just add the whole thing in one shot. Really convenient in case you guys want to buy out an entire deck. And you're going to need 257 to build out this one. And then if we did bling out the leader, it brings it to 327. What else can we bling out? The Goldie Roger. $6,000. Okay, yeah, it can get quite expensive here, but this means that Red Blue Ace is our first, where's he at? Expensive big boy here, $200 plus. We'll see in the end how many $200 plus decks there are, and just to give a general sense of how expensive cards are in this game. I have a feeling this game isn't as expensive as a bunch of other games out there, so which is a good thing. So up next is Emu. This is the most played Emu list for this week. Yeah, it looks pretty standard, no Stussy, so that will save you a little bit of money, a lot of bit of money actually. So this deck is $46, very cheap. But if you did want to bling out some of these to like the alt art versions, it does get quite up there. And then I know there's like Devil, there's a rarity higher than this one where like the numbers have like crazy like demonic symbolism in it, but they will only show up if there's any sales on TCG Player, and I don't think any have sold. If you want just a base version of the deck just to play it, it's an insanely cheap deck, right? This is our first less than $50 tier deck. Up next is Green Zoro. This is the Zoro list I'm going to be taking a look at. The price of this deck is $89. Very, very affordable. Runs the Tashigis. This is a flex 2k counter option. So is the Kawamatsu. In fact, it runs 14 2k counters. It's a little higher than normal. And then yeah, this is the Learn Together Restand event. In case you guys wanted to see what it is, it's the cheapest version of this event. There's just no image for it on TCG Player. You can even confirm if you click the shopping cart link. See, image coming soon. That's why I don't have it. Just in case you wanted to know why. So this is 89. Not bad, not bad. Right, this puts it in the $50 to $100 tier. So yeah, this is like your top 3 decks of the meta. It varies widely from $200 plus to less than $50 to somewhere not even in the middle, still on the lower end, right? I would have to say this green Zoro here. Okay, then Roger is the next up deck. Without the promo Roger, we're gonna have no idea how much that costs because we don't know how widely available it's gonna be. It's gonna be tournament packs from store tournaments, which depending on how many of those run, it could determine the price of that card. But for now, if you wanted to build out this version of the deck, it's $244 using, what's this card again? Oh, the OP01 2K counter Sanji from the Learn Together deck set. That's the cheapest one. There's so many goddamn variations of this card. This is the cheapest one from Learn Together. So this is a $244 deck that isn't super amazing right now, unfortunately. This puts it in the $200 plus category up with Ace, but meta-wise, not quite there yet. Up next is Red Black Sabo. Sabo costs $208, and then it's running some weird stuff like this Inazuma Flex 2K counter instead of Hack. And then the Black Vortex is cheap tech option. It does run Force Stussy in this version, less red dragons than I would like. I think I would run like something like this, which makes it a little bit cheaper, right? But if we had to go with the version of the deck that we pulled from the stats, it's barely above $200, so we'll put it accordingly in that category for Red Black Sabo, up there with Ace and Roger. But yeah, again, if you make the changes I made, it brings it down to one category lower, but that is not the rules. So next deck up is Green Purple Limb. So this deck is going to cost you $38, insanely affordable, actually quite strong, right? Limb is what number 6th for this week, so a very affordable deck that does decently well. The most expensive card in the deck is just the Secret Rare Zoros, which is reprinted in PRB02, so it shouldn't be too hard to get 3 copies for $16 here. If you did want to bling out the leader, it's $14 for the alt art leader, which kind of brings me to another topic. So I do know like custom leaders are really popular, and yeah, I can understand why. Like some custom art leaders are really beautiful, but I feel like most of them aren't, in my opinion at least. But people would rather spend more than $14 here to get a custom version that the art isn't really up to snuff, in my opinion, again, right? Which is why I like Adakai stuff. He's one of our sponsors. I picked him as a sponsor just because I actually like a lot of the art that he uses for his custom cards. But yeah, like if it's $14 for the official alt art, why wouldn't you just pick up the official one, unless it's like art that you really like? But I guess that's the crux of it. Maybe you guys really do like the art that I don't like. That could be it. Yeah, that makes sense actually. Okay, but yeah, this is a sub $50 deck, so we'll throw Lim in that category here, next to Emu. Then up next we have Green Bonnie. So Green Bonnie here has a lot of top end, so it does kind of dictate how much your deck costs, depending on what you want to run for your top end. This version of Bonnie runs for the Zoro. I'm guessing this is for the Emu matchup. It's really good into Emu. Also runs it Raizo, which is interesting. So the price of the deck is $168.95, not too bad. Cavendishes have gone a lot cheaper. The Learn Together version, which is the one that you see here with the 11 on it, is the cheapest version of that card. Your most expensive card actually is the Zoro from PRB02. To be honest, you may be able to get away with not running this and just run a different 2K counter. I don't think it makes or breaks the deck, especially if it's gonna make or break your bank. So I do think this deck is fully playable without Zoro, because you can't even cheat it out with this kid. But yeah, Bonnie goes in the 170-ish tier, which is right here, our first entry into the second tier here. Up next we have Yellow Bonnie, the Yellow Bonnie counterpart. Oh, you can ignore this title. I put in a feature to like save the history of your titles in case you refresh the page and want to come back to it, but I realize it can get in the way of me recording videos, so maybe I'll remove that. Just ignore it for now. So Yellow Bonnie, $112, actually not very cheap at all. And it's because it's running a bunch of PRB02 cards, right? It's running 4 of the Boa and 4 of the Otama here, which makes up most of the deck actually. And the Namis here too. Right, these 3 cards make up, I would say, like 90% of the cost. What's this card? Oh, was Nico Robin in Learn Together? She was. Okay, you can get a cheaper version of the Nico Robin here, but we'll show this one just to have the image. So 100-ish, just above 100, puts Yellow Bonnie into this tier here, the $100 to $150 range. Okay, next up is Bello Betty. Historically been a really cheap deck. Let's see if it's still the case. It should be. Yep, it's an $18 deck. This is the cheapest deck that we've seen so far that in our list of decks that we've been looking at, and it is a top 10 deck at the moment, right? Number 9 as of this week, could change as the weeks progress. But yeah, insanely cheap deck. Like everything is under $4 for a full play set. Karasu and this 2K counter Koala is like your most expensive card. So if you did want to bling it out, it probably wouldn't even get that much more expensive. You can probably get it to still under 50. So the leader makes it 43. Okay, maybe not. Ooh, this Lilith alt art is really expensive for 4 copies of it. Koala. Oh, okay, there's a very expensive PRB01 alt art Koala. Okay, never mind. If you bling it out, it's not going to be a sub $50 deck. But if you want to base art it, if you want to go Beambo mode, or mode, it belongs here with Lim and Emu. Up next, we have Red Green Luffy, which makes off the top 10, right? He's the cutoff here before we jump into the lower rankings. So this deck does run 3 Zoro, but I don't see any PRB02 cards besides this Bonnie, so it may not be super crazy expensive. We'll take a look. 88, okay. And this is a starter deck card. Which one is it? Oh, the Dawn Shuffle Nami. There's a lot of versions of this one. The cheapest one is the one from starter deck 1, and TCG Player doesn't have images for it for some reason. This is the OP01 Searcher Nami, which the Learn Together one is cheaper than the OP01 one, and this is Mole Pistol, which is cheaper than the starter deck version. This is the Learn Together one as well. Yep, for the bare bones version of each of these cards, it's $88.67, nearly 100. The Secret Rare Luffy being your most expensive card. So that puts Red Green Luffy just shy of 100, which puts him in the same tier as Zoro actually. And coincidentally, this guy counters Zoro pretty well if you play him to the optimal way to play Red Green Luffy. Actually dumpsters Green Zoro, unfortunately, for Green Zoro mains. Okay, so moving on to decks that are past the top 10, here is Zoro and Sanji. I forgot his name for a second there. Having a brain fart. So this deck costs 140, actually quite expensive, but it is an 11th place popular deck now. Most expensive card is 4 of the Luffy, the one from the current set, OP13, secret rare of the set. Does really well for this deck too, because you can make it attack again, so your quadruple attack threat is a really potent thing to have to swing with every turn. And then the Mihawks are also quite expensive. It's cheaper, this version is cheaper than the one that comes from the starter deck at least. But yeah, I was expecting it to be a lot cheaper, but that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. And this is like one of the only starter decks that are actually still popular and playable. So he does go in the same tier with Yellow Bonnie here. I should close some of these tabs. I'm getting confused which tab to open. Up next we have Rayleigh. So Rayleigh should be quite the cheap deck. He didn't get anything new from PRB02 or OP13, so he costs $52. Runs a lot of Learn Together deck set cards, so if you have that Learn Together, you can build out some of the missing cards you have in Rayleigh pretty easily. Most expensive card is the Sanji from OP10. The leader itself, how much does the alt art cost? 24, not bad. So yeah, $50 deck, just above 50, so I can't put him into the same tier as Emu, Lim, and Bella Betty, but if prices change on a whim day to day, it could easily bump down. Oh wait, I just put him in the wrong tier, so it should be up here. And then we have Blue Doflamingo. This is 13th place. 13th place, Blue Doflamingo. This deck costs $30. Insanely cheap deck, used to be one of the top meta decks, and was still insanely cheap when he was a top meta deck. In fact, his PRB02 card is one of the cheapest PRB02 SR. Oh, he's just a rare, that's why. So that's why it's not gonna break the bank at all. Most expensive card is the Boa from the starter deck. Now, if you did want to bling out the leader, this is where it becomes a problem, because look, 158 for the OP01 alt art, but base art is just 34 cents. I have to scroll all the way up. OP01 is right here. So he also belongs in this tier with Emu, Lim, and Bella Betty. Alright, Blue Purple Luffy has been historically quite the expensive deck, mostly in part due to this Mr. 2, which did get reprinted in PRB02, but that dropped it for a bit. But it has since risen back up quite a bit. And then also this is the version without promo Roger, because it's not legal until December, so that'll save you some money there. This deck right now costs 160. Okay, not bad at all, not bad at all. What was this? Oh, the Snake Man Luffy. Oh, this is in Learn Together too. 252 for a secret rare from the Learn Together deck set. Hey, that's not bad at all. Yeah, a lot more affordable than he used to be. I think he used to be up here with Ace and Roger and Sabo, but now he's, was he again? 160. So 160 puts him in right here with Bonnie, just barely. Okay, then we have Purple Luffy. I think this is actually quite the expensive deck now. Magellan has shot up in price. Mr. 2 again is expensive. Rayleigh is pretty good SR in the current set. And then, yep, Usohachi is one of the most expensive 2K counters in purple. So let's see how much this deck costs. 202. 202 for a deck that is not top meta at the moment. And, oh, this Usohachi is no longer that expensive. I guess it got reprinted in PRB02. Yeah, this is a PRB02 reprint. That's why. What's the expensive card? Magellan is 55 and Mr. 2 is 87. If you want to get the Golden Luffy leader, how much is that? 196. Oh, dang. But it does look pretty nice. But yeah, if you want to cheap out and go for the 18-cent version. So this puts it up here, actually, with the big boys as one of the most expensive decks of the meta. Up next is Teach, Blackbeard Teach. What is he? 16th, 17th place? 16th place. So I don't think this deck is expensive. I don't think he historically been expensive. Right, it's another budget deck that does really well, and it's $17. Okay, is this cheaper than Bella Betty? I think it is. Insanely cheap deck here. Most expensive card is just the OP10 Kuzan, which is more than half of the deck's price. So yeah, Teach also very affordable. A lot of these gimmicky black decks are just super cheap, so he goes down here too. And then we have Purple Black Luffy. This deck runs a lot of the expensive purple cards. We saw Magellan as an expensive card. This secret rare should be expensive, but it did get reprinted in PRB02. And then runs Stussy too, so let's see how much it costs. 155 for a kind of struggling in the meta kind of deck. Has some emu tools, anti-emu tools here, and then anti-ace tools. It's kind of like a meta, counter the meta kind of deck. And Morgans too. The cycle to get some of your non-searchable cards. But yeah, this puts it in 155. And then there is like a cool like Yonko 4 Emperors version of this leader. This one here, it's really sweet, 175. What is it called? Second anniversary? English second anniversary? Or you can just get the dopey one for 20 cents. So 155 puts it in this tier here with Bonnie and the blue purple Luffy. As you can see, a lot of the purple Luffy faces are expensive. Okay, next up we have Pudding. This is 18th then in that case. Yeah, 18th, so we have 3 more decks. Pudding used to be expensive just because this Katakuri and then this Katakuri are pretty pricey. This Pudding might be pricey. And then runs Mr. 2, so let's see what's up with Pudding right now. 187, and it is due to mainly the Mr. 2s. Full play set's $87. The yellow ACOS Katakuri is still not too cheap, even though it's gotten a lot cheaper than before. It used to be like $80 a pop. But the Big Mom is actually not super cheap either. But yeah, 187, and this is not too competitive of a deck. It is fun though. I don't even remember what set she's on. Here she is. 187 puts her in this tier. Then we have Green Purple Luffy, who has fallen from grace. He's 19th place right now. I think people just aren't too keen on playing him. I don't think he's that bad in the meta. He's better than a lot of the decks that are here above him. It's just that not as interesting anymore in the current meta, kind of hostile to the top meta. The 3 top meta decks do beat him, I do believe. We can take a look at the matchups if that is the case or not. Yeah, loses to the top 3 decks of the meta. But this deck price is 181. What's making up most of the cost? It does run the Zoro for anti-emu. Okay, so it's the key card of your deck, the Sanjay and Pudding, makes up $60 of it, and then Thunder Bagua is actually quite expensive now too. Okay, so 180 puts it in this tier right here. So this is one of the most populous tiers along with the lowest tier. And lastly, the 20th place deck is Nami, right? Yes, okay, this is the deck we're gonna look at last. Running the Marco means that it's gonna be quite expensive. Running the Kumas means it's gonna be quite expensive. This might be the most expensive deck actually of the lot. Let's take a look. Show prices, $259, and it is. This is more expensive than the Ace. Barely though, not too much more expensive, but it is the most expensive. Nami's time will come. I think in EB03 she does get quite the buff to at least be in the top 10, maybe not top 3 or top 4, but top 10 for sure, as we see the meta shake out in Japan right now. But yeah, most expensive card is the Kuma. Kuma's more expensive than the Marco. Full play set's $100. Then a full play set of the Marcos is another $70. But that's pretty much the bulk of the price. Everything else is quite affordable. If you want to bling out the Nami, how much is that? 44 for the alt art? Pretty nice. And I like this art too. What else can we bling out? Kuma? Whoa. Marco? Whoa, oh my god, the Marco alt art is even more expensive than the Kumas. So if you go for base art, it's flipped. Interesting. So yeah, $259 puts Nami squarely, solely up right here. So that completes our tier list of the, well, not tier list really, it's just categorizations for the OP13 early meta deck prices. We can see the distribution. It's either really expensive, like above a 150, or it's really cheap, where it's like under 50. Not too many decks in the middle. There's only 2 decks here, the Yellow Bonnie and Zoro and Sanji. But yeah, on the more affordable end of things, we have Zoro and Emu as our top meta contenders here. But on the other side of things, Ace being one of the most expensive decks and also considerably one of the best decks in the format is up here too. Also with Roger too, right? So you have the elite class here, the 1%, and then you have the people's champions here. It looks like. But yeah, it is skewing more towards the top end, right? We see more leaders that are $150 and more. So what does that mean for the One Piece card game? I think the fact that 2 of the top meta decks here are under $100, I think that's a good sign, right? And then some of these other leaders, if it's your favorite leader, you could have like budget options for them. But it's just unfortunate if like your favorite leader is Nami or Sabo or like Purple Black Luffy, you do have to shell out quite a bit to not get too much in return. But if you're happy, that's all that matters. So that's going to be it for the video. Let me know what you guys thought. And if you guys want, I can take a look at the prices of these decks near the end of the meta. And then I'm pretty sure the top 20 is going to change by then too. So we could see different decks up here. Yeah, let me know if this helped you make a decision on what deck to buy to. Maybe you're a new player wanting to know, okay, I have a budget. What deck should I get? Hopefully this helped you make a decision. I should put that in the beginning of the video. That's a good thing to add. Editor, do your magic. Okay, so that's going to be it for this video. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Check out my other videos. And I guess I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
Card D Kaizoku.